Well, welcome to Floral Elegance. Yes, this is a whole collection from our friends at Find It Trading. And I've got several things to show you, but let me just show you this one. So using the papers and the die cuts, they call them push-outs, you can do a card like this very easily. Or you can do something like this. Okay, won't you please come play with us? Well, let me walk you through the products before we get into the projects, okay? So the 8x8 paper collection, there are 16 double-sided sheets, and let me just show you them. They are duplicated, so there is this dark kind of deco art swirl, and on the back of it there are flowers, and we have more flowers, and this is a lighter kind of embossed look, and then a very light look, and kind of a trellis look. We've got roses, and we have a kind of it looks almost like brickwork, but it's in tan. And we have these, and we've got more orchids. We have some dots on this side, and you can see them a little bit more on this side. Then all of those are duplicated. And then in the back, we have a couple of extras. So we've got some cutouts there, and we have some tags right there. So all of those are in this paper collection. And then we have the die cuts or push-outs. And we begin with this one. This is peonies. And we have roses. We have marigolds. These are the ones I use, so we'll kind of push that aside. And we also have orchids. And then this is something new. We have these stamps, quote unquote. They're not adhesive, but you get a whole ton of them on this sheet. And all of the art, of course, is going to match all of the ones that I just showed you. So that is going to be our basis for going through these. And I'm going to put that one up there, and let me show you our very first project. Okay, we'll get in closer so you can see. And this is using that pink dot that I showed you. And I've cut it smaller than my card. My card is 5 by 6.5, as you can see. And I've used this die a couple of times, and I love it. But I did something else for you, is that I cut the retail in half for you. Well, actually, I think it was $20.99. It's now $9.99. It's also in the Money Saver, so there's even additional discount there. And this has the big piece. It has a small butterfly, this butterfly that matches the one right here, and then a corner treatment. So let me show you what I did. I used white glitter, and I die cut this piece. Now this piece has a butterfly right there, but what I used, let me bring this in. This is the sheet of, so you can see, I used the right-hand side. I kind of tended to use the right-hand side on many of these for some reason, but this piece I did not use because it has a white edge, and it was pretty large to cover this. So what I used instead was the number 2 image, and they are numbered, so that'll be easy to follow in the directions. So I used that, and I used the number 3 and the number 4. These are foam tape just over the matching art, so it's really easy. But what I loved is, I love that arch. I love that it kind of, it just kind of shelters whatever's right here, whether it's the butterfly that is part of the die or something like this, adding it on top of it to cover it up. Now, when you die cut this oval, it only cuts that center area, so then you can cut in straight cuts around it to fit whatever you want. And you can see I made it smaller than my card. And I did add the border dazzles, and these are from the white. Okay, so these are the 2 sheets. Now you can't see anything from that, can you? Okay, well, let me show it to you in a color. So this sheet has the smaller pieces that I used on the side, and then there is another sheet that she's quickly pulling out of the package. So you get 2 sheets of black, white, gold, and silver. You get 96 dazzles all together. So there's the colors. But this other dazzle that I used and cut, yeah, let me show it to you in the black. Okay, it's this wide one. So I just placed that on my trimmer and cut right along the middle. That gave me a piece for the top and that lacy piece for the bottom. So that just worked out really nicely. So in order to get both of those sheets, I needed to get the package of them, and that is listed in the materials list. Now, Sincere Sympathy, that came from this, which is the card Inside Outside, one of our best-selling dazzles. And you can see that Sincere Sympathy is right here. This package has black, white, gold, silver, and brown. Obviously, I used the white because I really wanted everything to really support this, because that's my color. So you can see that the light pink and the white, I think, just do a nice job. Now, I did die cut 3 of the butterflies, those solid little butterflies, and attach them with extra sticky tape. And you know the deal with butterflies is that you just place a tiny bit of the 1/4 inch wide extra sticky tape behind the body, lift the wings, pull off that red liner, and attach them wherever you want them to go. Sincere Sympathy. Now, this card with this layout could be anything. It could be happy birthday, thinking of you, sending warm thoughts, I love you, any of those. Just works out really nicely. Now, for the inside of the card, okay, I die cut the piece again, and I turned it upside down. Doesn't that work nicely? And I just cut the outside just like I did for the front, but this time I kept the pink dot just to fill that area, which used up one whole sheet. So that worked out nicely. I do want to tell you, when I was placing both the sheet on the front and this sheet in the back with the white glitter, I did use strips of the 1/4 inch extra sticky tape, and I just placed them on the outside edges, and then I positioned it on my card. I did that because I wanted these to stay lifted up. I thought that was pretty, and I wanted it to happen the same way inside. So I was pleased that I could use the die this way and I could use it that way. So, you know, it just makes double duty and triple duty. This is the number 1. You can see it's bigger. And Keeping You in My Heart is also part of that card Inside Outside. So that's my first card for you. And what's also nice is that you have enough to make 2 more cards or more, just depending on how you use them. Okay, so this is Peony Delight, and we're going to go to our next card, and it is this one. Okay, so with that card so very light pink, I wanted to have something different going on here. And so I took my card and I scored the front of it. I can't really close it. So I scored down here, and then I folded it back, okay? And I wanted to have this play of colors. So as you can see, I used that piece, and I'm using, by the way, the Romantic Roses. So it is this sheet. In fact, most of these sheets have an envelope with the flowers in it, which I thought was really nice. So this one does too, which is why I decided to use it. And I wanted that rose sheet, but I also wanted to have another color on the inside. So this is the darker, that first sheet that I showed you. Okay. The other thing I wanted to have happen is I wanted this mechanism at the bottom. So hopefully you know about our Easy Duo display card. This is Fabulous Folded. It was released earlier this month. And actually it was released last month because this is May. Okay, it was released last month. So neat, so easy to use. Absolutely love it. And you get 2 dies. I think this is also our least expensive Fabulous Folded set. You've got this long 10-inch strip, and then you've got the crossbar. The way it works is that long strip goes at the bottom, or it could go elsewhere, but mine went at the bottom. and then the cross hatches go on the inside. So it just works perfectly. Now, you can make this by measuring and scoring and all of that, but you know, in my life, cutting dies just make things easier and nicer. So that's what I use. Okay, so I elected to die cut those, but first I needed to cover use all my papers. So my roses goes here, it completely covers that front. The darker piece goes on the inside, and it goes on this piece, okay? Just because I think it's nice to cover that. The tip when you're doing inside areas is to take the paper right up to the score line, but not over it. I know that gives you a bit of a white line, but you know you're going to have a white line around this anyway, and I think it works just fine. Now, after you have those papers attached, then you're going to put this strip, and that's going to work well. Now, what I elected to do, and let me show you here, is I wanted to have this piece be my focal, but I wanted to really make it stand out. So I used these, and this is the square embossed frames, and you can see there are 4 pieces in here. They are thickly embossed. Beautiful, beautiful. There is a square one and a circle one. Great deal for the price. And because I didn't want white, I elected to ink it. Now I used Velvet Fawn, which is that and khaki are just my go-tos out of the Prism ink pads. So I put this on my craft mat and simply covered it with the Velvet Fawn. And as you can see, when we get in closer, that embossing just really shows up nicely, even closer. There you go. So it works just very nicely. It's a dull brown because it's the ink onto the embossed cardstock. It's very heavy. So then I did some inking around the edge of this. You can see how it's got a white edge. You can kind of see the die cut lines. I didn't want it to be a stark white, so I inked that also with the Velvet Fawn. A little gentler than I did this. I did attach it, and you can see it's going to attach in just a few places, but that worked nicely. And I glued the left side to the left side of my card. And then I also went ahead and added the different layers, so that just worked nicely to build this up. Now down here, I knew I wanted to have some greetings, so I went into our We're Together More colors, and this has brown in it. It has brown, white, gold, and silver, and there are 8 sheets. And you can see the Love You is just down there, which I thought was pretty. I wanted something else down here. Since I chose the stacking words, I could have used the long one, but I did the stacking. So I took one of the single roses. In fact, it is the number 4 that's on the left-hand side of the sheet. So I foam taped that in place. Now for my inside, okay. So I've got, what I used is all the pieces here. So I used that and I tucked it. My idea was that when you open the card, you're going to see a giant bouquet of roses, which I thought would be nice. And so the biggest one is attached there. Then the others, you can see that they're kind of funny shapes, but I used the one that's going down to attach to the crossbar. And same thing here, I used the one that's going down to attach to the crossbar. Let's see how I can show that to you. Okay, so hopefully you can see the one with 2 flowers, the big flowers down here. This one, I think you can see it because these 2 are up here, which means this one is attached to the crossbar. So you've got Love You, you've got an envelope with flowers, you've got a single rose. When you open it up, you've got a bouquet, and you've got lots of hugs, dazzles, that is from the same package, of course, right there. So a very nice greeting. Now I could have done some inking around the edges, but because these were white, I just felt I wanted to duplicate it, so that would work very well. Okay, so those are the roses for this card. Now we're going to move to our next one, and the next one is one that I showed you at the beginning, and this is using the Magnolia Dreams. And this is using both the lighter text, I'm saying texture because it kind of looks like a texture, the lighter and the darker. The darker I used on this card, but I wanted to interplay with those. And I also wanted to use these stamps, so that was fun. So I took the stamps and I just poked out all of them that were magnolias and set them aside, and then started playing with how I wanted to use them. So first step was to take the lighter color and cut it smaller than my 5 by 6.5 inch card. And then I tore the edges of the darker one, and I tore them, let's see, well, I'm sorry, I don't have an extra sheet sitting here. I know, I can get one for you. Okay, it may not be that paper, but bear with me if you will. Oh, well, I can tear the, yes, I can. Okay, let me do this. So when I tore it, I found that it was better. In fact, it might work better to mist the paper first, but I kind of walked it, and I'm going to tear it coming toward me because I want that white edge, because everything has white. So normally when you tear it, you just kind of rip it and it's going to go wiggly. Well, this is only 2 inches or so wide, so I wanted to control it, but I didn't want it to be a straight edge. So I kind of kept my fingers next to it, and it will tear more easily going with the grain as this one is. So you can see how it's not digging in, because my first piece did dig in, and that's not what I wanted. So you're going to do that, and then on the other side you're going to tear it the other way. So I'm going to bring it like this. So you start tearing it a little bit and see what it's doing, and then you make it do what it needs to do. So you're kind of just walking it with your fingers. So it's kind of taking a bite out of it each time. Okay, so you can have a piece just like that. And don't worry about those white edges, because that's exactly what you want. Glue that in place. Now select out whatever you want. Like I said, I wanted everything to match because they've provided it. And foam tape that. Notice I have 2 of the same vertical and 1 horizontal, so you can play with that, deciding how you want them. This is the Magnolia. Sorry, I don't have the other one, but that was number 1, as you can see. So that I've used on the front. And then the number 2 is, no, it's the number 3. It will tell you in the directions. There it is. That was foam taped on top. Now the happy birthday and those little hearts come from the 500 script readings. And this has 12 sheets, black, white, gold, silver. And as you can see, I'm using the white, so the happy birthday. So this is a little bit higher up. You would normally put that in the middle, but I knew I wanted room for 2 lines of text. So happy birthday, and then my little hearts. On the inside, I chose the darker one, and I tore the edges, but I'm not showing the white edge, so I tore it the other way. So this is whiter. And these are the pieces that I did not use on the front. So that number 2 and number 4 are right here. There are the other pieces that I cut out, so 2 vertical and a horizontal, and the word celebrate, kind of attaching it to the magnolia right there. So that worked quite nicely. So the lights and the darks worked well. And because you get 2 sheets of each, I could use it very much, the dark there, and I could use it right here. So that worked nicely. Okay, so that is the 3rd card, and this is the last card. And welcome to my, welcome to my orchid. I have an orchid melody, don't I, going on? Okay, so this sheet is right here. Let me pull it out so you can see it. There we go. So orchids all over the place. And if you have ever grown orchids and you have the right amount of sun in your house, they're easy. They're easy. They work really well with benign neglect, which is kind of how I grow plants. But I thought this would be really fun because when you mail it, it's flat, but then the person pops it up. And this is using the Stadium cutting die. So that's another of our fabulous folded. And it has the back piece, it has this card front, and it has the two crossbars. One is taller than the other. So I did this piece out of this paper that has kind of the rose, because I thought that would look nice in the front. The dot, now I've got the light dot back here and the darker dot in the front. I also used that dot in the first card. So I cut the card back out of the dot, and I also cut the dot out of those two. So you're just cutting one of each. So you're wrapping this around. You can see it's got tabs. You're using extra sticky tape to attach that, and then you attach the crossbars. Then you look around your orchids to see what can you use. So what I did is I used quite a bit. In fact, let me show you my used sheet. Okay, so you can see I used a lot. So I still have the envelope, so that's nice. So I used the bigger pieces, which is going to be the #1 piece, and I glued it in the back. Then I took the other pieces and glued them along the crosshatch pieces. And it wasn't quite enough just with those 4 pieces. So I went to the other side, and I didn't use #1, but I did use 2, 3, and 4 and added them to really fill up. And I'd like us to get in close to this because I just want you to see how full it is and how nice that is. Now, thinking of you, now I know that's in light pink, but I thought it worked nicely. And this is the We're Together pink, and there's 2 sheets in that package. On the back side is where I put the other #1 piece. And my friend is also out of that pink We're Together. So this again is going to go flat. You will need the 10 envelopes to go with it, and it will fit quite nicely. I think it fits both ways actually. So that will work very, very well. Okay, so that's my story with our Floral Elegance. And I do think, I know that everyone loves the price point on these sheets, which is really amazing and wonderful. But it's just as equally wonderful, all the things that you can do with these. So that is also great. Let me see, this is, I think, the magnolia. And the roses, I'm missing a sheet somewhere. Anyway, there are 5 sheets, including the stamps, and there is the papers. In the Money Saver, that's on the right side of your screen, I added that cutting die with the newly discounted price. And then, of course, you get it even less because you're getting it in a Money Saver. So I thought that would be fun. So all of these for you. And there are directions. It's down below. Just click on the cards. You will see them. I had a great time making these. It was very fun. And since I've done several of the Find It trading, it's fun to see what else I can do with them and what I can share with you. So that's neat. Okay, if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, please like us, subscribe, then head on over to Paper Wishes because that's the only place you can get the cutting dies that I have shown you and the collection of products that's right here. So that's all waiting for you. I want to thank you very much for joining me on Paulette's Paper Play. You can tell I have a great time playing with the papers and sharing them with you most of all. Okay, thank you, and we'll see you again. Join Lene tomorrow. Bye-bye.